What's up guys, Buadeo is here. Today I want to teach you how you can make full 3D game in Unity. It will be very simple but fun game, and we will talk about player movements, UI, scoring system, level design and a lot more. Even if you are a beginner you can still follow along cause I will make sure to explain everything as simple as possible. And if you like my content and want to see more videos like this, please like this one and subscribe to my channel. Now let's get started, and before we begin I like to talk a little bit about how our game will work. So we will be in the same flow. We will have our player, which will have constant movement, forward movement, and we will also have obstacles. And we should avoid these obstacles and go to the finish line. And when we go on the finish line, well, we obviously go to the next level. All right, let's begin with creating ground for our player because we don't want our player to fly, at least not today. To create ground, we can go on the hierarchy's empty space, click with the right mouse button, 3D object cube, and we will use cube for today. And let's name it ground. Let's click on the F to zoom in. This is our ground. It doesn't look like our ground just yet, so we can select our ground, and here we will see the scaling, which is size of our cube, of our object, and we can change it to be, for example, 15 by 200 on the Z. Let's zoom out, and I think it will work fine. Only thing that I don't like is this color of white color because it's pretty boring right now, and I will teach you how you can change color of your ground or how you can add some textures to it. First method is to create material for it. So let's go on the assets panel and empty space with the right mouse button, create material. Let's name it ground, and let's drag and drop this ground into our game object. Well, nothing happened, but it's now our ground has its material, and now we can select this material of the ground, and here we will see this albedo, and here we can change color of it as we like. I don't know. And the next thing, you might have downloaded some texture for your ground, and if you do, I have this ground texture, for example, with just picture of the ground, and we can just drag this picture on the ground, and as you see we have some kind of weird texture right now. And also Unity created some folder of materials automatically, and here we have this ground texture with its material, and here we can see tiling, and if we change this tiling, as you see our texture will change, and we can play around basically with it and make some interesting textures however we like. I don't know, just play with it and you will get to desired textures. Well, our ground is ready, and now we can create our player, and cube will act like our player for today. So let's create 3D object cube and let's rename it to be player. Let's reset everything here. Click on the three dots and reset, and it will reset its position. Just try to make position on the z-axis to be 0 because we will need it into our scoring system. Let's select our player and move it up a little bit. Okay, let's click F. Let's move it down, and z is 0 as you see. Very nice. And we can select our ground and move it forward a bit. Okay. It looks fine right now. We can obviously make it better, but our main thing is to have z-axis on the 0 of the player, and this player is also white, and let's change its color to be something. Well, let's use this ground material, for example, or you can create new material for your player. Drag this new material to your player and change color to be, I don't know, anything you like. And that's it. Our player is almost ready. We should add few things in order everything to work. First of all, let's select our player, and we should add few components because we will need to add some forces to our player in order it to move, and for it we need to add rigid body to it. So let's select our player, and in the inspector you will see this button of add component. If we hit it, you will see a lot of random stuff. And today we will need this physics. And here we should find rigid body. Let's select it, and now we can use this physics component for our player, which is pretty nice. By the way, where is our main camera? It doesn't really matter where it is right now, because we will make custom script for our camera as well. So our player is ready, I think, and we are also ready to make this player move. And the move, we should have forward movement, as I told you, and like so. So we will change this z-axis from the script, and we will move like this. Let's make it on the 0 again, and let's create new C# script. If you don't know how to do it, on the assets panel, with the right mouse button, create C# script, and I already have empty script prepared. I called it player movement. You can call it anything you want, just make sure not to have any spaces in name of your script, because otherwise it simply won't work. And let's attach our script to our player. You can drag and drop here, or alternatively you can select your player, add component, and type here on the search box name of your script and add it like that. And let's double click this player movement script in Visual Studio, and let's start working on it. First of all, we need reference to our rigid body in order to use it. So we can type here rigid body, and let's name it RB to be simple and clear. Also, after that, we should add few variables, public floats for our speed. This will be for our forward speed, and one for our side speed. Let's call it side force. Okay, in this start, we should get reference from our rigid body, and we can say RB equals get component, and the component name is obviously rigid body. Don't forget parentheses and semicolon. And that's it. Now we can use this rigid body. In the update, well, actually we will delete this update, and instead we will type fixed update. Click enter, Unity will auto compile. And when you work with physics, this fixed update works just a little bit better than regular update, because we will have some fixed time. And here we can say that we want to add some force to our player, so we can say RB, which is our rigid body, dot add force, and this add force needs vector free, so we should pass here x, y, and z. Well, we don't want to move on the x and on the y, as I said, and we will make it 0 and 0. We only want to move on the forward direction constantly. So here we can say speed, and we will multiply it to time dot delta time to have some smooth movement. All right, and semicolon. Let's save this script, and let's see if everything works so far. Let's go back in Unity. To save your script, by the way, you can click on the Control S or Command S if you are on Mac. Well, first let's select our player, and you will see the speed and side speed. Well, we don't need this to change the side speed just yet, because we are not controlling our player just yet. But for the speed, let's make speed, for example, 500, and let's see if it moves at all. All right. As you see, our player moves, but our movement is weird, and we can fix it by going in the rigid body and freeze some constraints on the X. But alternatively, I want to show you other method. We will create new physics material for our ground, and it will make our ground slippery, which will work fine for this type of game. And let's click on the empty space of the assets panel, create, and here we should find physics material. You see, let's name it ground, and we will make everything here 0 and 0, and we will add this ground into our uh, ground like this. And now if we play, as you see, this ground material is added. As you see now we have smooth movement. Well, our camera is not following our player and we are not controlling it, but we did what was needed. We now have constant movement on the z-axis. Now, next step, what we will do, let's go back in player movement script and let's make side movement for our player. And we will pass simple logic here. For example, if we will say that if we are touching some specific key, we want to do something. And to do it, we can say if input get key, and in parentheses we can pass, and quotation marks, we can pass a key that we want, for example D key, and open and close curly brackets. And here we can say that what we want to do, we want to add some force, but this time we want to add force on the x-axis, on the horizontal axis, right? Because as you see, when we move our x changes left and right, that's exactly what we want. So we can say that rb dot add force. Here we will pass our side force times time dot delta time, just like we did before. And for the x, for the y and for the z, we don't need to change anything, so we will have 0 and 0. Now we will go down and pass another if statement. If input, not indexer, input dot get key, and this time key will be a, just basic keys D and A, and we can say exactly same, so we can copy this line of code, but this time only thing that we will change is that make our side force with minus, and that's it. We can save this script and we can go back in Unity and see if everything is fine. So let's pass some side force, for example, I don't know, 50, and let's see. Well, when we click, nothing is happening because we are not fully done just yet. And let's make our speed, make our side force, for example, 200. And let's see if we can see anything at all. Yes, so we are moving, definitely. It's not smooth movement just yet, but we are moving. First of all, before we fix our side movement, let's make our camera to follow our player in order to see what is going on very easily. And for it, we will create new C# script, and I named it follow player. You can name it anything you like. Just make sure to drag this script into your main camera. And let's see now our main camera has this script attached. Well, it has twice, as I see. Okay, let's open in Visual Studio our main camera script, our follow player script, and let's start working. It's very simple actually. We will only need two variables. One will be for our player, so public transform. We will use transform because we only need position of our player, nothing more. And let's call it player. And we also will need public vector free offset, and I will explain what is this offset. I will show you very shortly, but first let's go in the update. We don't need the start, so we can delete the start, and in the update we can say transform.position, which means that our main camera's position will be equal to our player.transform.position plus this offset, and this offset will allow us to uh, place our camera however we like. And I don't know what is going on. Let's see. We have public vector free, not vector 2. We need here vector free, obviously. And let's save this script. Let's go back in Unity, let it compile, and I will show you What we have done? Well, if we leave this offset on the 000 and if we start our game, you will well, first of all we need to assign player. I've always forgot to assign our references. Let's drag our player on this empty slot of player and let's click play. As you see, as you will see, we have some weird movement, weird view, and I don't know it looks fine or not for you, but I will change it a little bit. And to change it, first of all, what I will do to make everything easy, I will change player speed to be something like smaller number. Then I will start playing and adjust our camera in play mode. Let's drag it up on the Z. Okay, let's drag it up like this, like this, and just play with it and you will have to desired position. And since we are in the play mode, if we stop playing right now, these numbers won't be available anymore. So what we can do, we can copy these components, copy component, and then we can stop playing, and here we can say that we want to paste component values, and here we go, we have. Now we can go on the player and make speed to be 500 again, and let's see, let's start playing. And as you see, we have now much better camera view, and here as you see, our player side force is really bad right now because it needs some momentum to make some move, and it's also very easy to fix actually. We should go on the player movement script once again, and here when we are moving, we will add some one more thing. We will add some force mode here, force mode, and dot velocity change, and this will just ignore our mass of our player, and movement will be more snappy and more smooth. We'll do same right here, force mode dot velocity change. And now if we save the script and go back in Unity, magic will happen when we move. We'll have much better and much smooth movement. Let's see. Well, now this 200 will be too much for the side force. Yes, indeed it is. So what we can do, we can change the side force to be 50 and the speed to be 1000. Okay, let's play. And I think, yes, indeed, it's much better and much smooth. Alright, our player movement is obviously ready, and we are ready to have some obstacles to have much more fun. For our obstacles, we can use cube, I think. So let's create cube, 3D object cube, and let's rename it to be obstacle. And let's click F to zoom in. Where is our? Okay, he's chilling in the air. Let's make it on the ground, and we can make it pretty little bit bigger. I think like this. I don't know. You can decide what you like yourself, but we can also create material to change color of our obstacle. Let's rename it to be obstacle, and then we can change albedo and drag this material into our obstacle. Alright, it looks fine. Let's talk how we can place these obstacles. Well, usually when I do obstacles, I would create some random numbers and spawn these obstacles. But since you might want to create some custom design and have some different levels, we can do it by hand. Just place it by hand. Let's go on the up view like this. Let's take it. Let's create empty game object right here. Create empty. Let's name it obstacles. Let's drag our obstacles there. And here we will create our obstacles. We can click on the Control and D and it will duplicate our obstacles and place it however we like in the scene. Just try to be creative. I won't spend much time in it. I will just place few obstacles into my scene. Let's duplicate them and like this. Okay, I think it will be enough. Let's start playing and see how they look. Yeah, is our obstacles and we can avoid them. Well, when we touch them right here, nothing will happen just yet. And next thing will be to have some mechanic to kill our player or restart our level. And for it, we can select our obstacles and create new tag for them. Tags are just categories, as you see right here, tag and layer, and we can assign different tags to different game objects. But we will select all of our obstacles and we will click on the tag, add tag, click on this plus sign, and let's name it obstacle. And I will explain why we are doing it, but let's select all of them one more time. Oh, they gone from my empty game object, I think. Yes, indeed. And this one here. Alright, let's select all of our obstacles and click on this tag and assign this obstacle tag to them, to all of them. And now let's open our player movement script and let's start working on it. Well, first of all, these obstacles, as you see, already has some kind of collider. In our case, it's box collider. We can use this and we can say here outside after our fixed update, we can say that we want on collision, enter, find on collision, enter, click enter, and Unity will auto compile. And here we can say very simple logic that if collision dot game object dot tag double equals, and in quotation marks we can say a name of our tag. In our case it was obstacle. If you named your tag different way, if your tag has different name, just make sure to do same here. And now let's open and close curly brackets. And here we can say what we want to do. Basically, this function will be called when our player, uh, because player movement script is attached to our player. So when our player touches something, some game object with a tag of obstacles, which are our obstacles, something will happen. And here we can say that we want to reload our game. And it's very simple, but first we should go on up and add something here using Unity Engine dot scene management, because we will be working with our scenes. Okay, now we can say here scene manager dot load scene and 0, for example. We can save this script and I will show you what I mean by this and what is this scene manager load scene 0. Let's our script compile. Let's go back in Unity, and if we go in the file and build settings, as you see we have our scene here, our level, which is cube game right here, and it has this index of 0. So when our player will touch our obstacle, our level will be restarted. Let's save our scene and let's see. Let's play and test if everything works. And indeed, when our player touches an obstacle, our level restarts, which is great and exactly what we want to do. Okay, next thing that we're gonna do is to have some finish line, and when we touch this finish line, our level will be restarted, and also we should work on our scoring system and UI. To create an end screen finish line, we can create cube simply, a 3D object cube, and let's drag it on the end of the level. Let's click on the F to focus on, And let's see. Okay, here will be our finish line. Let's make our finish line larger, and to make it fully in the ground. Then after it, we can click on this mesh renderer and hide it, and it will leave us some collider, only collider. And only thing that is left is to make this check of isTrigger, because we will need it in our script. And also we should create tag for our finish line as well. So in the tag, let's add a tag, click on the plus sign, and let's call it end line, for example. And just where is our finish line? Let's attach this end line tag to it. Okay, now we have everything to make our finish line working. And let's open our player movement script one more time, and after on collision enter, we'll create on trigger enter. That's exactly why we ticked isTrigger there, here. And here we can say that if other dot game object dot tag, just like we did with our on collision enter, double equals, and the name of our tag is end line, like this. And what we want to do, we want to scene manager dot load scene. We want to go in the next level. For example, we can pass here 1, and we can assign this index of 1 into our scene. Let's do it actually, because I want to show you something and tell you how you can easily implement that. For example, right now we don't have any next level, so let's quickly create one. Create new scene, create, and let's call it save scene as in the scenes folder, level 2. And let's open our build settings and add our level 2 there. Now let's go back into our cube game, into our first level, and let's open our build settings. As you see now, our first level is with the index of 0, and the second level is with the index of 1. So in our script, we did that when we touch the something with the tag of end line, so our finish line, we go to the next level. And let's check if it's true and if it's working actually. Let's try to not to die. Okay, we go to the next level, and as you see, level 2 is loaded. Well, we don't have nothing yet, but it's working, as you see. But the problem with this type of writing, this type of code, is that we will have different kind of levels, many levels, and if you leave it as it is right now, you should create then a script for every finished line, for every level basically. And instead what we can do, we can create some public int, and let's call it 11 number, and we will pass, instead of this index, we will pass this level number right here. Let's save our script. Let's go back in Unity. Let our script compile. Let's go back in Unity, and in the player we have this level number. We just need to change this one onto 1. And when you are on the second level, for example, you just need to change it to level number to 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on. I hope you understand it. Instead of writing indexes with a hand, we are doing it in the Unity editor, which is very handy, and this way we can use this script in all of our levels, which is great and amazing. Okay, now that we are ready we have done our level design, let's do simple UI and scoring system. Let's work on it. And scoring system, we will have depending on how much meters we covered. That's exactly why we have our player on the z-axis, on the 0. And let's start working on it. Let's create UI and text mesh pro. If you are using this text mesh pro first time, some window will pop up. You just need to click on the import, and it will import some essentials in order to use. Let's click on the F to zoom in, and let's place it, for example, right here. Let's see. Yeah, right here will be fine. We can change it to something, some number, just to see how it looks like. We can also make it alignment on the center and on the middle. All right, it looks fine. We can also change color to be anything we like. If you have any fonts in your project, you can drag it right here. I don't have any, so I will leave it as it is. We can also make the font bold and change font size to be smaller or bigger numbers. Well, just experiment with it and you will get to right points. And right now, let's rename it to be score text. All right. We also need to create a new C# script. I already have empty script with the name of score. You can call it anything you want. Just make sure to drag and drop to attach it to your score text right here. And let's double click to open in Visual Studio. Our scoring text will be very simple, but first we should add this using TM Pro in order to use these text elements. And now we can create public variables, public transform, and let's call it player to reference our player, and we also want to reference our text, so public TM Pro text. Well, it's not seen as you see. Okay, public TMP text. All right, we see it, and let's call it score text. Very simple way. We don't need this start, so we can delete this start, and in the update all we should do is to say that score text.text, so we are referring to our text element, will be equal to how many meters we have gone on the z-axis, and to say that we can say player.position.z. But the problem with this is that it's string, this one is string and this one is not, so we can transform this to string by saying dot to string, and we can save. I forgot parentheses, semicolon, and we can save this script. Well, we will have one problem if we do it like this, and I will show you what, and I will also explain how you can easily fix it as well. And okay, now in this score text, first of all, let's scroll down, and we should add score text and player. I will add score text right here, and player, I will drag my player and add it here, and let's start playing and see. And as you see, our numbers are in decimals, which is not fine. We only want whole numbers, and it's very easy to fix. Only thing that we should do is to, in the quotation marks, to type 0. And we can save the script right now and everything will work just fine. But just in case, let's test it. Let's start playing and see. And indeed, everything is working just fine. And our finish line as well, we are loaded in the level 2. And you can take this game and create lots of levels as much as you like, and everything will work fine. Now let's work a little bit on our environment, because I don't like this Unity Skybox default one, Unity Sky, and there is two methods how we can change this. First one is to select our main camera, and instead of in the clear flags, instead of skybox, we can select the solid color and make color any color that we like, basically. And this kind of technique is quite popular in those types of games. Or alternatively, what we can do, we can download some skybox into our project, and I have one, and I will leave a link to it in the description down below. It's a free asset from the Unity's asset store, and if you have downloaded any skybox in your game, then what you can do, you can select this window, rendering, lighting, and here in the environment you can see this skybox material, which is set to default right now. But if we select here, you should have see our new skybox, and I will add it, and this is how it looks like. And let's start playing and see. And yeah, you get the point how you can uh, make your environment a little bit different or a little bit unique. Only thing that is left that when we jump from our ground, let me show you, there is no way to die basically or restart our level. And what we can do, there is two ways actually. We can make some kind of zone which will follow our player, or since it's very small map, I will just create a 3D object cube and I will name it kill zone, for example. And let's click F to zoom in. Let's see. Okay, it's here. Let's place it here, make it larger. Alright, it's enough, I think. Let's scroll it down. It should be down like this. And let's change the axis, make it bigger, basically. How long is our ground? I think it's 200. Yes, indeed. Okay, let's make it a little bigger. Okay, now what we can do, we can assign tag of obstacle, and as you remember, our obstacle tag, which is assigned to our obstacles, is restarting our level. So we can assign this obstacle tag to our kill zone, and it will do same. It will restart our level, and we can hide this mesh renderer. We don't need it. And let's start working, or let's start playing and test if everything works fine. Here is our player. Let's jump it, and indeed it's working. Yes. Okay, this is it. We have done everything. I won't do main menu and some credit scene because I already have done a video about main menu and pause menu. You can watch them and you can simply implement them in this game. I will leave links to both of them in the description down below. And if you like my content and want to see more videos like this, please like this one, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to ring the notification bell not to miss any new upcoming videos. Thanks for watching and see you soon. Bye bye.